Have you ever felt lonely, even when you were not alone? Maybe you were sitting at a table with friends. Maybe you were in a room full of people. Maybe someone was talking, someone was laughing, and everything around you looked normal. But inside, something felt strangely quiet. You were physically there. You could hear voices. You could see faces. You were part of the scene. And yet, deep down, you felt distant. This is one of the most confusing kinds of loneliness. Because when we imagine loneliness, we often imagine someone sitting alone in an empty room. We imagine silence. We imagine no messages, no people, no one nearby. But in real life, loneliness does not always look like isolation. Sometimes, loneliness happens in the middle of a crowd. Sometimes it happens during a conversation. Sometimes, it happens beside people who care about us, but still do not fully understand what we are feeling. So the real question is not simply, why do we feel lonely when no one is around? The deeper question is, why do we feel lonely even when people are right beside us? To understand this, we need to separate two things. Being around people is not the same as feeling connected to people. Physical presence and emotional connection are different. You can sit beside someone and still feel unseen. You can talk to someone and still feel unheard. You can smile, answer questions, and act normal, while feeling that no one has truly reached the part of you that feels heavy. Human beings do not only need company, we need recognition. We need to feel that our inner world matters to someone. This does not mean someone must understand every detail of our life. It does not mean they must solve all our problems. But we often need at least one moment where we feel emotionally noticed. A simple sentence like, "I understand why that hurt you," or "That must have been difficult," can make a person feel less alone. Why? Because loneliness is not only the absence of people, it is often the absence of emotional understanding. This is why you can feel lonely in a group conversation. Imagine you are sitting with several people. Everyone is talking about ordinary things. They are laughing, sharing stories, moving from one topic to another. But maybe you are going through something difficult. Maybe you are worried about your future. Maybe you feel tired in a way you cannot explain. Maybe you are carrying a sadness that does not show on your face. The people around you may not be doing anything wrong. They may even be kind people. But if the conversation has no space for what you are really feeling, you may begin to feel emotionally separate from the room. You are not lonely because people are absent. You are lonely because your real emotional state has nowhere to go. This is an important point. Sometimes loneliness grows when we feel that we must hide ourselves. We may hide our sadness because we do not want to make others uncomfortable. We may hide our anxiety because we think people will not understand. We may hide our true thoughts because we are afraid of being judged. So we stay polite. We smile. We listen. We answer, "I'm fine." But the more we hide what is real, the more distance we feel between ourselves and others. This distance can be painful because humans are social beings. Our brains are built to look for connection. From a psychological point of view, connection is not just a pleasant feeling, it is part of how we feel safe. When we feel understood, our nervous system can relax. We feel less threatened. We feel less alone with our emotions. But when we feel misunderstood, ignored, or emotionally invisible, the brain may experience that as a kind of social pain. That is why loneliness can hurt so deeply. It is not just a mood, it is a signal. Loneliness tells us, I need meaningful connection. I need to be seen more honestly. I need someone to understand not just what I say, but what I'm trying to express. This is also why shallow interaction does not always remove loneliness. You may receive messages all day and still feel lonely. You may talk to coworkers, classmates, or family members and still feel emotionally far away. You may have many people around you, but no one you can be fully honest with. Because connection is not measured only by the number of people in your life. It is measured by the quality of emotional contact. A person with many social contacts can still feel lonely. And a person with only one deeply understanding relationship may feel emotionally supported. This is why loneliness around people can feel even stronger than loneliness alone. When you are alone in a room, the loneliness may feel expected. But when you are surrounded by people, your mind notices something painful. Connection seems possible. It is right there. People are close enough to touch, close enough to hear, close enough to see. And yet, emotionally, they still feel far away. That gap between physical closeness and emotional distance can make loneliness feel sharper. It is like standing outside a warm house and seeing the lights on inside. The warmth exists, the voices exist, the life exists, but somehow you feel separated from it. In everyday life, this can happen in very simple moments. You may be at a family gathering where everyone expects you to act cheerful, but inside, you feel tired and unseen. You may be with friends who know your jokes, your habits, and your surface personality, but not the worries you carry quietly. You may be in a relationship where you spend a lot of time together, but the deeper conversations never happen. You may be in a workplace where people talk to you every day, but only about tasks, deadlines, and practical things. In all these situations, you are not completely isolated, but your deeper self may still feel alone. This is why loneliness is not always solved by simply going out more or meeting more people. Of course, social contact can help, but only if it creates real connection. Being near people can reduce loneliness when there is warmth, attention, honesty, and mutual understanding. But being near people without emotional connection can sometimes make loneliness more noticeable. So what can we learn from this? First, feeling lonely around people does not mean something is wrong with you. It may mean that you are craving a deeper kind of connection. You may not just want more conversation. You may want more honesty. You may not just want more attention. You may want to feel understood. You may not just want someone beside you. You may want someone to meet you emotionally where you really are. Second, this kind of loneliness can teach us to look more carefully at our relationships. Not in a blaming way, not in a dramatic way, but gently. Who makes you feel safe enough to be honest? Who listens without immediately judging? Who notices when your silence changes? Who allows you to be more than the version of yourself that performs for the world? These questions matter, because emotional connection often begins in small moments. A sincere question, a quiet conversation, a moment of listening. A sentence that says, "You do not have to explain perfectly, I am still here." And third, we can also become that kind of presence for others. Sometimes the people around us are lonely too, even if they do not look lonely. They may be laughing while carrying sadness. They may be speaking while feeling unheard. They may be surrounded by people while feeling emotionally alone. This is why simple attention can be powerful. Noticing someone's tone, asking a real question, listening without rushing to fix everything, allowing silence without making it awkward. These small acts can make someone feel less invisible. In the end, loneliness is not only about being alone. It is about disconnection. It is the feeling that your inner world has no place to land. And when that happens, even a crowded room can feel empty. But this also means that the answer to loneliness is not always more noise, more people, or more distraction. Sometimes, the answer is one honest moment of understanding. One person who listens. One conversation where you do not have to pretend. One quiet space where your real feelings are allowed to exist. So maybe we feel lonely even around people because we are not only looking for presence. We are looking for connection. We are looking for the feeling that someone sees beyond our words, beyond our smile, beyond the version of us that seems okay. Because deep down, every person wants to feel that their inner world is not completely alone. And sometimes, the most painful loneliness is not having no one beside you. It is having people beside you, but still feeling like no one has reached the quietest part of your heart.